What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude, and today I am very excited to have onto the podcast social media
Oh my god.
sensation,
I can't believe you
Instagram
did that.
influencer, Etsy
Oh my
legend,
god.
host of the Art of the Process podcast. We have Dewani from Sixers Twitter. What's going on, Dewani?
I hate you. Why'd you do that to me? I told him specifically not to introduce me that way. It's fine. What's up, guys?
I had to do it to him one time. So before we get into anything else, I do just want to say me and Dewani have been in the lab. We've been in the studio. We've been
We've been
cooking up.
cooking.
We've been we collabed. We finally got on the same page, not only on the podcast, but we will be releasing. Hopefully I get all this merchandise up and post it tonight so that I'm not just like spewing bullshit, but we created some merchandise that you can buy in the description. I'll put the link down there. If you guys could support us, I would really, really appreciate it. Because why am I doing this? I'm just doing it to make money, obviously. So, go buy the shirt.
He's a grifter.
Hey, look, if the Sixers are the grifting team now, I'm leaning into the bit. That's all I'm saying is
Fair.
I'm doing this for winning. That's all I care about, folks. So if you guys can support us, I'd really appreciate it. But now that we're past that, I'm really bad at the self-promotion stuff. So let's get into the next stuff, which is the Jokic versus Embiid matchup that happened last night.
Mhm.
And Dwani, I don't know about you, but coming out of that game, I really do feel like Bones Highland is the NBA MVP this season. How about you?
I think he's winning Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved Player, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and he's gonna
Rookie
win
of the Year? He's a rookie.
All the awards.
Yeah, he was absolutely incredible last night.
He's basically Steph Curry.
I mean, how many times, and don't get me wrong, I just want to put this out there. I love Bones Highland. He's awesome. He was a guy that I really
Very
liked in the draft.
powerful name.
Incredibly powerful. Also, his real name is cool too. Nashon Bones Highland. Just really cool sound to it. He's also a hooper. So, of course, I was like, give me him. Like, I want that guy. Like,
Pure
I want
hoops.
Give me another Maxey. A Maxey that comes off the bench when Maxey starts. So we don't end up getting him. We end up getting Jaden Springer, who I don't even know if he's alive. I haven't seen him in like 6 months. I don't.
Doc
If Jaden
hates
Springer,
him.
if you're
We're
out
never
there,
gonna
let us.
see him.
He got his Twitter hacked. That's the only thing I've seen recently from him. But he's now an orthopedic surgeon in England, apparently. So congrats
Lovely.
to
He's moving
Jaden.
on. He doesn't care about our team anymore.
He's going. He got his doctorate. He just finished medical school. We're so proud of Jaden.
I hate this team. Get me out of here.
He's very young for a doctor, I have to say. But obviously Bones Highland steals the show last night, makes a fucking logo 3. We decided don't guard the guy who cannot miss from 3, which was an interesting defensive strategy. But how do you feel coming out of last night? I know we talked a little bit about this, but what's your overall feeling about not only the MVP, just about the Sixers in general?
So I just said this to you before, but I think after we traded for Harden, there were a lot of people who set the bar very high for this team, and I think now they're kind of being brought back down to the earth, which was what it should have been in the first place. Even after the trade, I didn't necessarily have high expectations. It sounds like a terrible thing for me to say, but there are some very big holes in this team, and I don't think James Harden fills all of them. But from the game, obviously, Embiid is who he is. He's gonna dominate regardless.
He's very good, in my opinion.
He's okay. He's not that good. Relax. I think this game, the rivalry between Jokic and Embiid, I think, has been pulled out of thin air from Twitter. I don't think they make it seem like they both hate each other, and it's like fuck you, like I'm the best center. But they clearly respect each other, and I forgot who I told this to yesterday, but I do whatever Joel Embiid tells me to do. Okay? I'm an M-GOAT stan. If he tells me to respect someone, I'm gonna do it. I don't necessarily hate Jokic. I just hate his fans. Even like literally 20 minutes before we started recording, I saw a tweet from Swipe something.
Swipe a cam. Yeah, I blocked him. He's very annoying. I was like, enough of this. You're an insufferable fanboy.
He was arguing with Drew Hanlon, who is Embiid's shooting coach or whatever.
Yeah, you're gonna convince Embiid's shooting coach that he's not one of the best players in the league, and Jokic like
no. Listen, the response to him was just his field goal percentage compared to his attempted field goal. I'm like, how do you enjoy basketball this way? You're bringing up his VORP and his fucking Raptor and his this percentage and this rating, and I'm like, you can't be a basketball fan. There's no way. There's no way you enjoy talking to people like this. Like,
it is the classic Kevin Durant who wants to look at a graph when talking about hoops. Like, exactly. You can like Jokic, you can think he's better than Embiid. I think that's a fine opinion to have. I think as a fan of the Sixers, obviously I'm going to prefer Joel Embiid, and I think that they're both amazing players. They're both 1 and 2 in MVP for a reason. But I don't know if you saw this. Speaking of that last night, it was perfect. HP Basketball, who's like to be fair, HP Basketball used to be a big Embiid hater, and he has been better about the Embiid stuff recently. He's basically like, I think he would be just like a good MVP, like blah blah blah. He thinks Jokic should win because he's a Nuggets guy, but whatever. So he tweeted last night at 9:25 p.m. Nuggets back down to a 107 or 102 offensive rating. Sixers back up to a 116 offensive rating. And then someone just named the Noob Eraser just said, who watches games like this?
There's no way that's a real tweet. There's no way.
Yeah. He was calculating offensive rating. Who cares? I feel like this whole Jokic thing, first off, like you said, like those two, Jokic and Embiid, respect each other. They both think each other are great. They seem to get along very well.
Yeah.
They respect each other's games. Why should I care? Like, I literally spend none of my day thinking about Jokic ever, unless I'm on the podcast talking about it. Like, there isn't a single moment of my day where I think about Jokic other than I'm like, he's a really good passer and like fun to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
And it is just an obsession from Nuggets fans.
It's
and
insane.
From that wing of Twitter where it's like, I don't want to say right wing, but
I mean,
the Stat Views wing of Twitter, which is,
they're a mile above sea level, right? There's not a lot of oxygen up there, so it's only right.
Yeah, they're cheating the entire league. Why do you think that they always have a great home record?
Exactly.
Come on now. Nuggets, Jazz, they're cheating the whole fucking league but like realistically, like coming out of last night's game, I felt like Embiid dominated in the first half and the Sixers were running away with the game, and I felt Jokic played really good in the second half, and I felt like the narrative that came out of it was a draw because the Nuggets won and the Sixers and Embiid put up a lot of numbers and looked great in the first half, and like we were on the second half of a back-to-back, keep in mind. Like,
yeah, that went to OT, by the way.
Yeah, we went to overtime the night before. It's very possible James Harden went to Miami after the game, too. Let's be honest. Like, we were close enough, like, and, they just, in the second half, their legs were dead. Like, they didn't have anything. No one could hit a fucking shot. And the narrative coming out of the game was that, like, it was a draw. And, like, the Nuggets won the game in the minutes that Jokic was not playing.
Yeah. His bench saved his legacy, basically. Embiid was locking that boy up.
Like, Boogie Cousins couldn't miss. Bones Highland couldn't miss. Bryn Forbes hit a few shots. Like, the Nuggets bench, which was before they got Boogie and Bryn Forbes, was one of the worst benches in the NBA, has now balanced out a little bit. And like the supporting cast thing, like obviously, the Embiid has Harden and Maxey now. So it's not to say that it's like he doesn't have any sort of supporting cast. He does. He has a really good supporting cast when you think about there's just a lot of top heaviness to it.
Yeah.
Like the bench is horrible. like if the bench can't hit a shot, they're worthless players. Like, let's be honest. It is what it is. DeAndre Jordan is miserable. Like, he sucks. Like, I don't know what.
They
Like,
got me
he's just
playing
bad.
at center.
Like, I don't know why we had, like, Doc Rivers is at the press conference after the game and he's just pretending like, yeah, no, I think he had a bad game. I'm like, DeAndre Jordan has sucked for 5 years. What are we doing here? Why are we pretending like he's good?
Wasn't there a stat where like they were looking at the difference between bench points between the Sixers and the Nuggets, and it was like 44 to like 12.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. And ultimately what it comes down to is the Sixers were really tired at the end of the game. The Nuggets were able to get their way back into the game because of the bench units. When Jokic was off the court, Boogie Cousins was like a plus 18. Like,
he hit like 2 threes back to back. I'm like,
yeah.
We're done.
I mean, the irony of the situation is that the entire season it's been the opposite. It's been like, well, Embiid has Seth Curry and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris, who's like been pretty bad this year, to be honest. And Jokic only has, and then we come into this game and Embiid absolutely dominates for the first 3 quarters of the game at least. And by the fourth, he's a little bit tired because they're on the second half of the back-to-back. And the Nuggets win the game because of Jokic's supporting cast. And Jokic himself, like, had a decent game, but like, it's not like when he was going up against the Kings and the Pelicans and the Warriors with Jonathan Kuminga at center, and he was putting up 30-point triple doubles, and everyone on Twitter was like, is this LeBron James 2.0?
Is
like,
this God?
This is literally the greatest basketball player we've ever seen. Like,
his PER is so high.
He's being guarded by like Damian Jones. Is that his name? I don't even know the Kings backup center name.
They had me guarding him the whole time.
Yeah, like, Jokic is awesome. I don't want to take anything away from him, but coming out of this game, I don't think that I don't think the narratives are going to lean in one direction or the other. Now, if Jokic and the Nuggets blew out the Sixers and Embiid played poorly, we would never hear the end of this. I went into last night's game being like, this is a no-win situation. Because if the Sixers win and Embiid plays really well, we'll go, well, he has James Harden. So, like, Jokic's second best player is like Aaron Gordon. And that's like, okay, all right. Well, so, and then if the Nuggets win, it's like, well, Jokic just impacts winning more than Embiid. It's like, all right, so why are we even, like, I didn't even care about last night's game. First off, I don't know about you, but I want to see Joel Embiid win MVP. But, like, if he doesn't win MVP, like, why are we trying to kill this guy so he can win a regular season award when our goal is a title? That's been my whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's definitely more important things than winning MVP. Obviously, for him, it'd be huge, and I think he deserves it. But if he doesn't win, I'm not going to be like, this is the end of the world, because I think, and the NBA in general, there's always one goal, and that's to win. So if we can get there, I think, like, overall, there's a lot of people, especially on Sixers Twitter, who would rather see just Embiid succeed rather than the team win a championship. Like, they'd rather have Embiid win MVP, but we lose in the first round.
Well, I think part of it is because of the justification of the process, which is funny because I think the ultimate justification of the process would be winning a title. Yeah. But because Embiid is like the embodiment of the process, like, oh, we got literally the MVP. Like, dude, if Joel Embiid doesn't win MVP, he's still a top 5 player in the NBA. Like, you cannot take that away from him. Like, he's been, for the second straight year now, he's been inarguably a top 3 player, at least in the regular season. And maybe if he has a little bit more help in the playoffs, better than that. And I'm, like you said, you're like, you know, I'm not going to lose my mind if he doesn't win MVP. I would love to see him win MVP. I would love to, just for a legacy purpose, for, like, he deserves it.
And so I control.
Like, yes. Also, once again, that is the number one reason. Literally number one reason is, like, I will never shut the fuck up about it. Because
I need to talk my shit. That's why I want him to win. But if he doesn't, like, it's fine.
Get my jokes off. Yeah, exactly. I will save my meltdowns for the playoffs, though. Like, I will save my meltdown. Like, I saw articles written about panicking after last night. I had people DMing me. I saw people posting, I'm not going to call them out by name, but I saw someone posting a photoshopped image of Joel Embiid in a Miami Heat uniform and it said go win a
Cook.
ring, and I was like, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna puke all over myself. But I'm not panicking because I kind of felt the same way as you did. Like, I felt good about this team. I felt as though the trade hired their ceiling. Like, it took their ceiling from, like, we're probably going to win one round at best to, like, we might get to the finals and we have a shot at winning. But the East is very loaded. Yep. And matchup wise, I don't love our matchups with a ton of teams. Like, I think the Nets and the Celtics are not a great matchup, and I think that the Bucks and the Heat are both very good teams. And like the Bucks just won the title last year. They just got Brook Lopez back. We might face them in the second round. Like, I don't think that there is a pathway that is like, oh, for sure they're going to win a title. Like, the depth is bad, which once again, I don't worry too much about having like 12 guys. We can just like pull off, but you need 8 guys. And we talked about this before we recorded, but like we have 3.5 guys. like we have Maxey, Embiid, and Harden, who I trust. And I'm like, even if they have bad games, they will have it worse, like probably a net neutral impact on the game. And then we have on any given night, Thibault or Tobias. Like, if
not
Tobias, not both at the same time, never. It's actually illegal for both of those two to play well at the same time, apparently. Because 2 nights ago in Orlando, Tobias saved our ass. He hit his open shots. He took his open shots, most importantly. And he hit a big 3 at the end of the game. We probably don't win that game if he doesn't go off in the first quarter. He was back to his Kevin Durant style first quarter scoring like he did last year. And then Thibault, like last night, the first half, I was like, this guy, like sometimes he just has games where I'm like,
he's him.
He is him. And then other games I'm like, he should be in the G League.
He should go back to making YouTube vlogs. Full-time YouTuber.
Matisse, we support whatever you want to do with your career. I do just want to say one thing. I love Thibault. I think his personality is great. I think he's a good locker room guy. I think that he has moments where he's like really fucking good. And I know people like he could be the kind of guy that could like swing a playoff game, but he could swing it in the other direction too, where like it's very bad. And I don't want to like come at him or anything, but like, what does he work on in the offseason? Like, what does he do? Like, what does he do? Like,
Premiere Pro editing tricks. Sorry, that was mean. Listen, let me get this out before I start my shit talking. I love our team as human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? But sometimes on the court, they do things that raise my heart rate, and it's not good for my anxiety. So I must get it out somehow. Okay, back to...
Let me talk my shit again.
Yep.
So, Thibault basically every year comes back and he's the same exact player. Like, it's very, something about Australian-born defensive guys when they come to the Sixers.
Goodness.
Are just like, what is going on with the fact that like his shot is still broken? He does it like, yeah, the cutting is good this year. And like, I guess that's technically an improvement, but like it's more just like,
that's a
hey,
effect.
run over here instead of standing there.
Hey, catch this lob real quick.
Like, we have James Harden now. Yeah. And like one of the things that worried me a lot about last night is like, I think the offense will be fine. Like, I think it will be like, it won't be as good as it is right now because in the regular season, they'll get more fouls. They'll face tougher defenses in the playoffs. And there are just going to be nights where like Harden or Embiid just don't really have it. And like they could struggle. But if you watch last night's game, like I had someone who's a Nuggets fan tell me that Monte Morris and Jokic contained the pick and roll of Harden and Embiid in the second half. And I went back and I rewatched it. That didn't happen at all, by the way. Aaron Gordon was, and I respect this person and their opinions and stuff, but like Aaron Gordon was on Harden, who's a much better defender, has actually had a lot of success guarding Harden in his career. And they basically said, we don't care. Like, these other guys can beat us if they want. Like, if Maxey, Tobias, and Thibault want to shoot open threes, they can. But our entire defense, this is exactly what happened in the Nets game, is going to be focused on collapsing into the paint when
Mhm.
Harden and Embiid are running the pick and roll. They'll put 2 on the ball. They'll let Embiid get into the paint, and then they'll put 2 guys on the back line to basically make it so that Embiid just can't walk to the rim. And it is a massive problem when you get to the playoffs and you're facing the Miami Heat, or you're facing the Bucks, or you're facing one of these elite defensive teams, the Celtics, and they can basically just say, we don't have to worry about that guy literally at all.
I think the biggest thing is when Embiid has the ball, everyone just kind of stands around. It's like what the Lakers do.
Great.
To the point where it's like, you know, you can move without the basketball, right? Like, I'm like talking to myself while watching the game. It's like, what are we doing here?
There's nothing. It's
nothing. Just
a lot of it,
around.
other than the pick and roll, it feels like a lot of the offense is kind of devolving into iso ball, which like that is not great. Like I think that it's good to have that to fall back on in the playoffs when like things just get tough. But like if everything's just gonna fall into like no movement off the ball, like you said, it's basically just like Embiid saves us or Harden saves us, and that's it. Then I don't really see like this offense being as sustainable as I thought. And if the offense isn't sustainable, holy shit, the defense is bad. Like the defense is really bad. And one of the things I noticed is like, if you put Thibault in the dunker spot because he can't shoot, then we have no one to run back and guard people. Like our transition defense is so bad because our only good transition defender has to stand under the basket on offense. And like, it's the same thing that happened with Ben, where it's like, oh, the only guy that can run fast other than Maxey, who's 6 foot. Like this team, I know that the slow, unathletic thing has been like beaten to death.
Joke. It's so true though.
Yeah. But it's like, holy shit, they really look like they're moving in quicksand half the time. Like they are just not a fast athletic team. And like pretty much the Nuggets and the Nets so far have been like, even the Magic, like the fucking Orlando Magic, like if Fultz plays 25 minutes in that game, we probably lose. If he's not on a minutes restriction, we probably lose that game. And we
always struggle against them for some reason, though. And I think that's the main reason is because they have young athletic guys who can run. We have players doing the pacer test the whole time. But then they stop at like 10.
Our most athletic wing is literally the worst offensive player in the NBA. And then we have Danny Green, who looks like he just went to the bathroom every time he runs.
Oh my god.
And then we have George Niang, who like same thing as Danny Green. Like they kind of look like they're like another thing. Danny Green, I love that he was back last night. Why is Danny Green taking pull-up mid-rangers? Oh my god. Has he been hanging out with Tobias?
Everyone wants to be like Joel.
It does feel like anytime that he got an open 3 last night, he would pump fake, get down, and I was like, wow, he actually attacked a closeout. And then he went 0 for 5 from the field, didn't hit a single shot. And I was like, well, they're tired. And I'm like, Danny didn't even play in the Orlando game.
He hasn't played for like a week. Yeah, it's bad. It's just so like frustrating to watch. This is why I stopped watching games. I can't. My heart rate can't take this. I'm gonna break my TV one day because I'm seeing no improvement. I got this ring that measures my heart rate, and last night I was watching it and I got an alert that says heart rate increasing, and it's like you need to sit down. And I'm like, I can't believe a basketball team is making me do this.
I felt the same exact way. I said last week, we were talking about the Nets game. And I think part of it is like kind of like the public humiliation element of it, because it's like anytime the Sixers have a big game, it's like, oh, they're the Sixers, right? Of course they come out and they fall flat on their face. But like, I'm watching that game and I feel like my nervous system is like attacking me. I'm like, am I a bad person? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, what did I do to deserve what is happening right now?
I hated the fact that when we were down like 10, I had a feeling. It was like 33-21 or something.
Is this in the Nets game?
Yeah, the Nets game.
Okay.
It was around the time where Katie and Embiid were starting to beef with each other, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then the lead increased to 20, and I was like, I can't be on Twitter for a week. Like, it's going to be so bad. And then I went on the app, I muted everything possible, and I have I have a list that I made on Twitter, which, like, gives you an alternate timeline. And it's filled with just people I know, like, in real life, or, like, my high school friends, or, like, college friends. And it still showed up. And no escape. I was like, I'm just gonna log out. Like, I can't do this. And then I went on Facebook. Same thing. No escape.
The doom surrounds us. And
Facebook was worse.
Well, I mean, Facebook is a cesspool. Let's be honest. That was your first mistake. Was like, let me log on to an app that should not exist.
Yeah, you're right.
But I mean, Twitter is not much better. But Facebook is truly unhinged, and I felt the same exact way as you, to the point where I was like, it's not even other fans that I care about, because I'm with you. I think I have literally every other fan. Like, I have friends who root for other teams. They're all muted. Like, I don't see their tweets. And no offense to anyone who listens to this, but like, I just don't like. I know you're gonna make fun of the Sixers, and it's gonna hurt me personally.
It hurts my feelings. Like, it genuinely makes me feel so bad, to the point where I have to lay in bed and think about, this doesn't affect real life. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, there's bigger problems than this. Yeah, I have to repeat this self to my.
It's pathetic, really. I do the same
so
thing.
Sad.
Like, you can disconnect. You don't have to worry about this.
That's what I tell myself.
And I log into Twitter the next day, because I was like,
yeah, because we're
I'll tweet my Joker video and get the fuck out of here. Like, this is not going well. And I log into Twitter the next day, and my friend who's a Celtics fan posts a milk carton of me saying missing.
Oh, no. God, that's terrible. That's so bad.
So I feel as though this is one element of the Sixers being villains that I probably underestimated, is how much people are going to just do victory laps every time that they lose a game.
Prey on our downfall.
It is funny how things shift, though, right? Like, 2 weeks ago was like, James Harden was right. The Nets suck. They lost. Not even, like, a week and a half ago. Then the Nets come out and they beat the shit out of us, and they win like 3 in a row, and we're like, well, I guess Durant was right, and Harden is a stat padding loser. And I'm like,
the Nets won the trade. Oh my God. I said the funniest thing to someone. I saw a Nets fan saying that the Nets won the trade when, like, Harden went 2 of 7 or something. And I'm like, at least we have a player who's on the court. Okay, it's been a month. Actually, you know what? You haven't played.
They have Andre Drummond.
Drum Goat. That's my guy. I freaking love him.
I love Andre Drummond, but also, if he's the best, one of the 2 best players that you get back in a trade for James Harden, you have lost the trade. That's pretty safe to say. It's not a controversial opinion.
I think it's hilarious how much they are supporting the certain someone who apparently can't run or sprint. So
he can't sprint right now? Is that what they're saying now?
There was a report yesterday, Malika Andrews on ESPN, look it up. She said that he currently cannot run or sprint. And there are, let's say, 14 games left before the playoffs.
Well, he's a playoff performer, so they don't have to worry about that. They're good. You can just throw him in.
Playoff.
He's like Kevin Durant.
Riser. Oh my God, dude.
He's like Kawhi Leonard. You just put him in.
Imagine being a Nets fan and being excited to say Ben Simmons will help us in the playoffs when he hasn't played the entire fucking year.
He hasn't played the entire year, and the last time we saw him in the playoffs, he got imposter syndrome on national television and had a meltdown. Like, I mean, like, realistically, like, that is an issue. Like, you can't just throw him into the fire like that. Like, Emart, when he came on the podcast last week, and my friend who's a Nets fan said my eyebrows looked like they were about to jump off my head, because he said, I don't think Ben Simmons is playing this year. And I was like,
I don't doubt that. I honestly think he might not play at all.
Which is kind
of funny.
I mean, it's hysterical.
It's
But
so
also,
funny, but no one wants to talk about it.
if I propose that, first off, I'm to the point where I don't even believe any of this back injury stuff. Like I just am like I know he's had back injuries in the past and stuff, but
Yeah.
if
The
he
timing
is,
of it is kind of funny because you
yeah,
had all this
and
time to ramp up because you were like, if I get traded, I'll be ready in a few weeks. Like, I'm running 5-on-5s with high school kids. I'll be fine.
you've been ramping up for 9 months. How much more do you need to you're ramped, dude. You're all the way ramped up.
And
Like
now
you
they're
don't
ramping
need
up
any
his
more
ramp up.
time. So the timing of it is weird for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Timing of it is weird, but also like the Nets are really good without Ben Simmons. If they win the title, like if they get into the playoffs, they beat the Bucks in the first round, which would be crazy because that's what the matchup is going to be right now. Probably Bucks Nets first round, insane.
Yeah.
Maybe they get to the second round and they beat the Sixers or the Celtics or the Bulls. They're pretty much walking to the finals at that point because I don't think Miami is going to beat them. You could have a scenario where Ben Simmons, the Nets win the finals,
And he doesn't
Ben
play a
Simmons
single game.
never plays a game for them, and then they trade him this offseason.
That would be my Joker moment. I would do something. I'd do something insane. I don't even know what.
Can they even talk shit to us? I guess they can. I mean, we have James Harden, and they have,
I mean,
Seth
they
Curry,
have
who's
if they have a
apparently
ring, like it's over. I
yeah,
would
true.
deactivate my Twitter and I'd go start working a 9 to 5 in like Ohio or something.
I'd go into witness protection. I was
get some
trolled
U.S.
too bad.
Marshals to protect me. Oh my god, it would be so bad. I already get hate comments when like if we lose and like if I've drawn Embiid or Harden. I don't know why. I get hate comments under my Instagram posts. I'm like, what did I do to you? I literally just draw stupid things, and you're so pissed about my team losing when you're not even a Sixers fan. Like, it's hilarious. I'd have to go into witness protection.
Well, it's funny. It's funnier because you're literally just drawing pictures of humans. Like at least I have takes. Like at least like I say things that people would get mad at. Like I used to make fun of the anti-Ben Simmons people, and it wasn't that I came on the podcast every week and said, look, Ben's a flawed player. And I don't know if the Sixers can win with him. I want to support the guy because he's on the team and he's an all-star and really good defender. I don't know. I think they have a shot. Like that was basically my whole thing last year. And I get people DMing me like, remember when you used to make fun of the anti-Ben Simmons people? And I'm like, dude, I've wanted to trade Ben for a year and a half. But the problem was no one wanted him for a star player until the Harden thing came around. I tried to trade him for James Harden a year and a half ago. And people will DM me and be like, you made fun of us. You are the worst. Oh, you made, and I'm like, no, I made fun of the people that literally every waking moment thought about Ben Simmons and wanted him off the team and wanted him to perish. I'm like, I don't get that much emotional investment in, even me, I don't get that much emotional investment in hating players. Look, I really don't. Like, I don't waste my time hating players. I will hate the Sixers as a collective. I'm not going.
That's justified.
Yes, of course. They're ruining my life every night. Even last night, they beat the slow start allegations, and then they fucking collapse. Like
they're gonna be the reason why I have a heart attack at like 24.
I didn't expect this pod to be so doomer, but I'm loving it. I have to say, people are gonna be like, "Oh, maybe they'll make us feel better," and they'll be like, "I'm gonna kill myself live on air."
You're in the wrong place if you want to feel good about the Sixers. This is not the place to be.
Okay, let's try to be a little bit positive because we're 30 minutes in and I've only said like Joel Embiid's really good. Basically, that's it. And he should win MVP.
It's a fun team to watch when they're on. Like on paper, they sound really good.
The first 5 games was a dream.
Bliss. It was out of body experience.
Yes. I've never done heroin, but I'd imagine that's what it feels like. I mean, it was really good. Like I was loving every moment of it. Now they're 6-2 with Harden. They're 6-2. They got blown the fuck out by the Nets. And then they lost a close game to the Nuggets, and they probably should have lost the close game, but they won against the Magic. So overall, there are some positives to take from this. Danny Green, as much as he drives me nuts sometimes being back, and hopefully his normal self will give us a little bit more shooting off the bench. I am worried about the shooting in the starting lineup. I'm worried about the defense overall. But there is a world where the Sixers just get to the playoffs and Joel Embiid was really fucking good for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs last year. Like, no one could stop him. The Hawks' whole plan was like, hey, just let him destroy us for 2 quarters because we can't stop him anyway. And then hopefully he gets tired because he has no one else to help him. And
also,
from there, we'll just win.
He was on half a knee, if I would remind you.
Half a knee?
Half a knee.
He was
not even half. 0.25
like,
of a knee.
Yes. And I just want the regular season. It's hard because it's like, I want the regular season to be over, but we also need more time to gel because the Celtics, other than Derek White, have played together pretty much all season. The Nets, I mean, like, they don't have a ton of time together, but like they seem to have figured it out pretty quickly. The Bucks have had multiple years with these guys now.
Like, I mean, they won a ring, so
they won the title last year. Miami, other than Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker, who were thrown into the mix this year, have some chemistry. I look at the matchups across the board, and I don't love the matchups. But from a pure talent perspective, it's the same thing Emart said on the last episode to me, which is basically, if I told you the Sixers were 6-2 with James Harden, with 1 close loss to the Nuggets, and a good win against the Timberwolves, who, by the way, I don't know if you've been following the Timberwolves, but Karl Anthony Towns scored. Yeah, he scored 60
Cat
points.
Cat is my guy.
Yeah,
I pass his high school every day while I drive here.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When he was an all-star, they had like a little banner on their electronic sign. It was cute.
That's awesome. I mean, he's an Eagles fan, so I'll always respect him as a person. And I just want to say that, like, if you had told me 2 months ago the Sixers got James Harden at the deadline, I'd be like, you're an insane person. Who are you? Go away. They are 6-2 with him, with 1 close loss and 1 bad loss. They had some pretty good wins in there. They looked amazing. Their offensive rating is like a 130 with Joel and Harden on the court, which, by the way, is like 13, 14 points better than the best offense in the NBA. I would be like, great, sign me up. But instead, we are here nitpicking on all of the things that have gone bad and wrong.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think that they're in a better position than they were in before. I'm the most worried about Doc Rivers. Like, of all the things to be worried about is definitely Doc Rivers. He just doesn't change. He's just, he is who he is. And
hey, I know someone who said that same quote.
What's that?
I said, I know someone who said that same quote after a playoff meltdown.
It's just, we can't shake the vibe.
I think with Doc, like,
we have the loser stench on us.
He's the type of person that will see something go wrong time and time again and will not do anything to fix it. And it just keeps happening to the point where now I'm just like gonna stab my eyes with a fork. It's just like, how many times does something have to happen for you to be like, maybe I'll try something different. Maybe I am the problem. So the answer is Furkan Korkmaz needs to miss 43s in a row for anything to change. And by the way, what's funny is that when a guy is playing as poor as Furkan, and like, I don't think he deserved to be in the rotation based on any merit. 100% he was terrible. Awful. But at the same time, like, we're going to need shooting. And like, do you think that Furkan Korkmaz is just like a 20% 3-point shooter now? Because you got to give everyone an opportunity. Like, he only played like 3 games with Harden. You can give players opportunities, not when we're down 20 and there's 8 minutes left.
And also when we're playing against the Orlando Magic, when we're playing against the Nuggets, okay, that's fine. I don't even think Isaiah Joe actually played last night, but it's fine if you want to lean on your guys in games that you feel as though. But like in low stakes games, which by the way, I guess the Magic game was not a low stakes game because we were fucking losing.
No game is a low stakes game for this team. That
might be the real issue. Is that we play up to people and we play down to everyone.
Yep. And
But
it's
my whole
not
thing-
just recently. That's been a theme even last year.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's been the theme for 5 years. Like if I see a lottery team on the schedule, I'm like, we're cooked. We're fucked. Oh my god, the Kings? We're done.
We're done. We're losing. Double
The only
overtime.
team I feel confident against are the Chicago Bulls. It's like literally,
Yeah.
like I see the Bulls and I'm like, oh, we're winning. That's fine. They're nothing.
Because Vooch turns into me when Joel's in front of him.
Yeah, and look, Doc has done well, all things considered, on the whole, but for the regular season, I should say. In the playoffs,
Yes.
it's going to be another scenario. But I would like to see, he said the other day that he wants to rest Embiid and Harden down the stretch of these games. And if he's resting Embiid and Harden down the stretch of these games, that's fine to me. Having scheduled rest days is cool. Of course, Nets fans come out and everyone who's on Kevin Durant's payroll on Twitter comes out and says, oh, they're dodging the Nets. And I'm like, yeah, did you watch that fucking game? Of course we're dodging it. Are you stupid?
Yes.
Why would we want to play the Nets in the first round? Like, it's the same. And Ryan Russillo brought this up. The Clippers did this with the Lakers last year, and then they got to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to do a good strategy. Like, obviously no one wants to play the Nets in the playoffs. Granted, if KD and Kyrie are playing, like, we're kind of cooked.
It's not going to be good. We literally have no one who can guard either of them.
Yep.
It's a bad scenario, I would say.
1-2 punch.
Dodging them in the playoffs is fine to me. And, like, I hope that over the next 2-3 weeks that we have leading up to the playoffs, that I don't even remember how many games are left. 15 or something? That sounds right. Sure,
Yeah,
why not? Let's go
16.
with that. Yeah. And in these games, I hope that Charles Bassey gets some run with James Harden. He won't. I hope that, we can see maybe Furkan can refine his shot. Maybe Isaiah Joe should get more minutes specifically tied to James Harden. Maybe we should try out some lineup rotations when guys sit, when whatever. None of it's going to happen. Like, that is the thing that I am the most concerned with, is like all of these things that could theoretically happen.
They won't.
Will just never happen because we have a stubborn old coach who walks like he's a retired man.
It'll be the last game, and Joel's gonna play 44 minutes
for the scoring title.
Yep.
No, I'm serious. He will play. He will probably, like, the last game of the season. And this is because LeBron is a little stat padding loser now. What?
Oh my
First off,
God.
The last two, I just want to say, I was a big fan of LeBron James before he went to the Lakers. Like, I respected him. Thought he was arguably the best player of all time.
The
shit he has done since he got to the Lakers, and I know this is shit that he's done his whole career, but it is totally amplified now to the point where he goes there, he blows up the whole team to win a title. Fine, that's fine. Mickey Mouse, we all know it's not real. But then after that, Anthony Davis gets hurt. LeBron basically gives up in the playoffs because he knows they have no chance. He trades for Russell Westbrook because he's the GM of the team, let's be honest. The whole season falls apart. And now, instead of playing to win, he's literally playing 40 minutes in blowouts to stat pad so that Joel Embiid and Giannis can't win the scoring title. He's trying
Sounds
to
like
murder
a grumpy
teenagers.
40-year-old man.
It's pathetic.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Like,
especially last night, the Lakers and Raptors game. I was just checking the ESPN app just to check the score because I wanted the Raptors to win. And it fourth quarter, 53 seconds left. LeBron James loose ball foul. I'm like, and then I checked the time, like the box score to see how many minutes he played. I'm like, maybe he's just in there for like shits and giggles. 40 minutes for what? To lose?
To stat pad, to get points. He will make it his life. Ever since the push last year when Joel went up for the dunk.
Yeah.
And he pushed him. And I'm like, oh, the two leading candidates for MVP at the time playing. LeBron pushes him when he goes up.
You can't tell me that shit wasn't intentional, man.
Come on now. LeBron is strategic. He is like, I will not let, I am 37 now, 38.
Mm-hmm.
I am winning the scoring title, and that's all I care about now. And all I care about is getting more points so that Joel Embiid and Giannis cannot win, and I will not even let them have one fucking thing. I won't let them have it. Even in a season where we're the 10 seed.
You know that one tweet where it was like, LeBron's turning 30 soon, like, thank God this shit might not go on forever. It's like,
From
he
8 years
saw
ago.
that and he took that personally. He's never gonna stop.
He watched it. It's like the Cam Newton meme. He saw it and he was like, bet. And he just like walked back out there for 8 seasons to continue to ruin my fucking life. You're the greatest player of all time. Let Joel have the scoring time. Like, I don't even get mad at Jokic because I'm like, Jokic is in his prime. He's trying to win games. Like, he's trying to do as much as he can until Murray and
LeBron's just an old man who's grumpy.
Exactly.
That
he's
his
just
team
a cranky
sucks,
old man.
even though he's the one who built it in the first place.
Okay, so I've been thinking about this, and I've thought about a way that we can fix the Sixers and the Lakers at the same time. All right, you ready?
Yep.
This offseason, if the Sixers flame out of the playoffs, Tobias Harris and Doc Rivers combo trade. Because if you get Tobias, you need Doc. Doc gets to go live back in LA. He can have all these quotes about him and LeBron being great friends.
Oh my goodness. And Tobias is a Doc merchant, so
there you go. Tobias, AD, LeBron, big three with Doc as coach when Frank Vogel gets fired. We can take Frank Vogel back even. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
That big three is winning multiple chips.
If AD can ever play a basketball game again, it's another loser thing that he did before the Suns game.
The Suns game?
He's such a loser, dude. I hate that team so much. He basically came out and said if we were healthy, we would have beat the Suns.
Yeah, I'm sure, buddy. I don't hate AD, but he has this loser presence about him. I think that's why I hate, like, players. Like, I can respect their game and the fact that they're NBA players. It's like the same thing with Bradley Beal. You know, he's a great player, but it's just like, okay, we get it. Okay, you're on a bad team. You don't have to cry and pout. We get it. Okay? God. Pisses me off.
Yeah, he's on the sideline every game having an existential crisis. You know, he's
crying. He's like, I'm like, you chose to be here. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
I agree with that until he's a Sixer, and then I love him forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay woke. Bradley Beal to the Sixers this offseason.
Who said that? First. Andrew Bogut?
Trill Brodude said that on the podcast. It's happening. You can clip this in a few months when it happens. Bradley Beal, Sixer. We're making it happen.
Let me get the art on.
The Lakers are just fucking losers, and I hope they lose in the playoffs or the play-in. I hope they don't even make the playoffs because
it'd be funny.
It would be so really funny.
You know, what's that account? Lake Show Yo.
Yeah,
the biggest loser on NBA Twitter. Oh my god, I'm being so mean this episode. I'm sorry.
I'm just going in.
He posted a video before the season began where it was like a video clip of like LeBron, AD, Rondo, Russ, Dwight Howard, and Melo, and they're like all posing for a picture. And he's like, "Who's gonna stop this team 4 times?" I'm like, "You, you're gonna stop yourselves."
Literally, Westbrook, the person that's in the photo, is going to stop you. Well, the Lakers have actually had a very similar trajectory to the 2019-2020 Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
Because they made an off-season addition that made no fucking sense. And everyone talked themselves into it because the players were at one point very good in their career.
Yeah. But they're way past that now.
Yeah, exactly. So you start to get into the season and you're like, I don't really know. Maybe we need to pull this guy from the starting rotation, put in more shooting around them. I was like, like when we pulled Al Horford and we put Shake Milton in. And then we get leaks about like LeBron not being happy, them wanting to trade him at the deadline. I'm like, it is the 1926ers, but with LeBron James instead of Joel Embiid. And I guess Ben Simmons, he got hurt, but it was later in the season. Like, I feel as though they were destined to fail from the beginning. It's the one move that like everyone universally hated, the Westbrook move. Like, I didn't hear a single person except for Laker stands being like, yeah, this will be great. Everyone was like, this is dumb as hell. Why are you doing this?
I mean, the same thing with us. Like, we talked ourselves into fucking Al Horford.
Of course, we have Stockholm syndrome. We are held captive by the Sixers.
So bad. Oh my god, I had a poster of the starting five where it was like Al, Embiid, Ben, Tobias, and Josh fucking Richardson, and I hung that in my dorm room. I'd wake up to see that, and I'm like, "Yep, we're winning a chip." Like, you know how sad that is. This is why I was depressed my senior year, because I had to wake up and look at that stupid fucking poster.
I can't believe we ever talked ourselves into that team.
Yeah, it unreal. Like, I can't even believe that team existed.
I was drunk on NBA podcasts that summer because they were all like, I really like the Sixers because now when Joel sits, they'll have Al Horford as the backup and like they can play together. Who's
gonna guard Joel?
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe we'll sign Marc Gasol the next offseason, like so we can just get everyone who can guard Joel. But in retrospect, it's like we had no guards or anyone who could shoot.
We didn't have anyone who could dribble the ball. I don't think we still do, except for James Harden.
Well, Tyrese Maxey can dribble the ball a little bit. The only problem with Maxey is that he doesn't dribble the ball from side to side. He just dribbles the ball. He's just vertical speed downhill. Like that's his only thing. At least he has that though. Like
he should be a Formula One driver.
Yes, he should be straight line Formula One. Whereas like no one else on the team has a bag at all. And we need like no. When I was watching Bone Highland roast us last night, and I was like, we still need more hoopers. We still have negative hoopers. Like we have Maxey's really the only hooper. Like I don't think anyone would consider Harden a hooper. Maxey's the only hooper on the whole team.
Yeah.
Although Ball Don't Stop likes Tobias, but he's not a hooper. He's a basketball player. And one who drives me insane sometimes. Tobias over the past 2 games, I will say, shooting open threes and making quick decisions.
That's all he has to do.
That's all I ask for. And like, don't die on defense.
Yeah.
And we'll be fine. Like that, I can trust that version of Tobias. But I'm just very skeptical that guys, once again, 10 years into their career are like, yeah, I'm just going to be a totally different player now. Like,
yeah, I think it's definitely like when he started playing bad, it was definitely like he has been playing a certain way for so long. And especially like this season where it's basically been him and Embiid delivering that 1-2 punch. And now you add Harden in, like, it's got to be tough to be like, all right, like I need to step aside and let them cook and I'll just stand here. Which I understand, but also it's like I watch games and I'm like, can we use like one brain cell to like pass the ball? Like that would be helpful.
And he still will have his moments where I'm like, what are you doing? But I do think that I said a week ago on the podcast that Morey, Harden, Embiid, and Tobias need to lock themselves into a room. And they need to sit down and they need to explain math to Tobias. Because Tobias is a smart guy. He can understand these things. Because at the press conference, he said exactly what you said, which is basically that he's trying to adjust and he's having like this mental adjustment to a new role, which is stand in the corner, shoot threes when you're open. It's a pretty simple role, but he has overcomplicated things in the past because we've needed his shot creation. We've needed him to be more than he probably is capable of. And one of the things he talked about in that press conference was making quick decisions and taking efficient shots. And I was like, did they sit him down and explain to him? Even if you shoot 33% from 3, it's still better than shooting 46% from mid-range. Like, it's basic math. Yeah. I think they sat him down and they were like, listen, like, this is literally, like, if you get an open shot, you hit 40% of your wide open shots. That's a really good outcome of a possession. So I think it has just been about confidence with him. And like now he's getting a little bit of that confidence back. And who knows?
I think that Magic game was good for him. Like, that definitely
Well,
brought his confidence.
played against a former team. So, I mean,
Comfortable there.
Yeah, which is half the league. But at the same time, when
44 is a larger number than 33, as our lovely Sixers admin would put it. 21 is greater than 15.
So you think we lost the Nuggets game because of the tweet?
Yes. Oh, 100%. Are we serious? Absolutely. Do you remember
anyone who didn't see, they tweeted 21 greater than 15, right? That was the tweet, which is Embiid better than Jokic because he scored over him.
But it's like math, you know? Yes. Like, the number is greater. And then they got fucking cooked by the Nuggets admin, and then they deleted their tweet.
Never take an L. Darian told us.
I'm so convinced we lost because of that. Because, do you remember last summer against the Hawks? I forgot which game it was. But they tweeted, like, the halftime score, and it was like, is this when we're supposed to feel tired? And then we fucking lost. So
yeah, because it was the strategy that we talked about, which was they were like, we're just going to get Embiid tired. We're going to let him, like, he will wear down. And then he had, like, 35 points in the first half, and we're like, oh, Embiid is the greatest player alive. And then he got very tired down the stretch of the game, and the Hawks came back and won. And yeah, it has not been a great track record. I feel bad for the social media people, though, because, like, yeah, of course you want to support your guy and post that, but maybe just wait until after the game is the lesson that we have learned.
Like, during the game, I understand, you know, but, like, we need to keep it level-headed, okay? Because getting embarrassed by the Denver Nuggets social admin is one of the worst L's of my entire life. Do you know how bad it feels to have someone from fucking Denver be like, haha, you lost. Oh my god, I was gonna kill myself. It was so bad. I logged out of Twitter. I was about to delete the app. I'm like, I can never show my face on this app ever again.
It feels like a culture war almost, where it's like as Eric said in the last episode, the flyover states, the Jazz, Colorado, and the coastal liberal elites who think they're better than everyone.
I mean, they don't have internet there, so they probably don't even know what we're talking about.
Well, Denver has internet. Utah, I'm not sure. I don't know if if do they have broadband yet, or are they still on dial-up? I'm not really positive.
Probably dial-up still.
Yeah, possibly. But
that's like the one thing that if you look at a map of the electricity across the America states.
The America states?
Yep.
Yeah, see, our education over here on the East Coast is great.
That's not what I meant to say. If you look at a map, there's like just emptiness, and then like in one city in Utah, it'll be like the one dial-up internet they have at a public library.
Yeah, because people don't live there. It's just nothing. They have one place where people live in the entire state. Can you name another city in Utah?
No.
Exactly.
Salt Lake City.
And
that's one.
Park Hill? Is that a place?
Sure.
That sounds right.
You can make up any name, and I'd be like, yeah, sure. That definitely sounds like a Utah city.
Mormontown. We live in Mormontown, Utah. That
sounds
nothing there.
About right.
I mean, I'm gonna get so canceled for being a coastal elite the past few episodes, but you know,
Best Coast.
With my Ivy League education over here, I failed to do basic math last week. So, all right. So last thing we want to talk about here before we get out of here, James Harden, his social media team. I'm assuming because I really do believe the Young Thug tweet that he does not have the internet because he doesn't seem like a guy who's like super plugged in. That is the one benefit of. I don't think Kevin Durant lets it get to him anymore. But I do like the fact that, like, I don't think this team is checking social media obsessively after the games, and that's a good thing because we just talked about how it makes us want to die, and we're not even on the team.
Yep.
So, the one thing that I will say is that Harden's team came out and they tweeted a video from the Nets Sixers game of the play with it looked like a movie. It was zoomed in on Kevin Durant and the flames are going up and Harden comes out on the court, and then we get fucking destroyed, and he hit a step back three over Kyrie to pass Reggie
Down
Miller.
like 30.
Yeah, we were down like 20 something at the time. And he hit a step back three to pass Reggie Miller on the all-time 3-point list, which I do think it is a little bit funny. Someone pointed this out to me. It's like Harden isn't even like a top 10 shooter of all time and is now third in 3-point attempts made, but I'll take it. He's on the Sixers now. He's my guy. But we did not need that moment, because another moment where I was like, probably best for me to log out today.
What? I can't believe how often that keeps happening. It's so bad for our mental health and just like our overall wellness. It's like I see a tweet and I'm like, fuck, like I have to log out today. I can't.
Everyone is gonna roast us for this, because Harden got on there 5 days later and was like, hey,
it took them 5 days to edit that video.
Here's a clip from the game where we got destroyed by my former team. I abandoned them. And I passed Reggie Miller. Like, I'm all for a player celebrating when they hit a milestone. And like,
I think it would have been better if they just posted a photo of Harden and Reggie Miller. Like, him holding up that shirt. Like, that would have been perfect.
That would have been awesome.
Who's his PR team? I need their number. This is so bad.
Yeah, let's hit them up.
Why do I have to be subjected to this? You're getting Nets fans, like, threatening me. Come on.
James, please hire me to do your social media, and I will just tell you not to post that.
You're right. I think a lot of people just don't know the nuances of NBA Twitter, which is the other reason why I hate the Sixers so
Oh, because people are psychotic, you mean?
Yeah.
People have no lives and spend all the time. I tweet things now, and people don't understand jokes. They don't understand nuance. They don't understand irony. I posted after the Magic game the Tobias Harris apology form, which was a popular viral tweet from last year when Tobias was playing really well at the beginning half of last season. And I posted it as a joke after we beat the Orlando Magic in March. And I crossed out, I was jealous he looked like J. Cole. I kept saying he's overpaid, even though it doesn't affect how he plays. I don't watch basketball. I need basketball knowledge, and I am an idiot. And I signed it with my name. And then the quote tweets were all like, bro, we just beat the Orlando Magic. This is the dumbest shit ever. This shouldn't be signed until the playoffs. Are you dumb? Every quote tweet, people were angry. I just want to say, if you're a part of NBA Twitter, Sixers Twitter, first off, I appreciate you for watching this. Second off, just touch grass every once in a while. Just go outside, look at the sun, get some tan, go see your family, hug, touch another human being.
Oh my God.
Because I'm genuinely concerned about like 90% of NBA Twitter.
Honestly, same. Sometimes I'll read things and I'm like, what is going, like, go do your homework, dude. It's like 9 p.m. on a school night and you're tweeting advanced stats about a game that does not matter. You have environmental science homework to do, okay? You need to read chapter 3 about mitochondria, and you have a quiz tomorrow. Like, what are we doing?
I do have to remember that a lot of the times that these people are like half my age, and I need to just chill out.
Oh, yeah.
And I one of the things I really respect Kevin Durant for is the fact that he's logged in. Because if I was an NBA player and I was going out there every night and busting my ass, and I was one of the greatest NBA players of all time, I would be like, what is Twitter?
I mean, when you're as good as KD, like, I think you don't care what people have to say. Like, at some point, you're like, he's the GOAT.
But he does care. That's my whole thing with KD, is that he cares so much.
I think he's just trolling most of the time
on Twitter.
Like, I can imagine how fun it must be to be an NBA player who's, like, basically god at basketball.
Yeah.
And then you can just go online and troll 12-year-olds on a random Wednesday night. And
he doesn't let it affect him
Yeah.
on the court is what's the
Yeah.
most important thing. Is like he can separate. He can just go out there and be like, yeah, I'm the shit. I don't care. After the game when they destroyed us and he came out and was like, hey, you can't boo Ben Simmons when your team's getting clapped. I was like, I mean, he's right. I respect. Like, if you come out and you basically you can talk shit if you show it on the court. Like, I will deep down hate you because you're ruining my life personally. But
if it wasn't against us, I would respect it. No, I do respect it. But if it wasn't against us, I would be in full support.
Yeah. If
It
he did
just
it after the
hurts
Knicks
me
game, I would be like, king.
internally. Okay? It affects my heart.
So, I just want to say, Kevin Durant, if you're watching, I know you're a big fan of me. You've retweeted me before. Somewhat, my tweet went viral and someone from NBA Twitter said I look like a wisdom tooth. Appreciate that.
What?
The Kyrie video. You remember the Kyrie video that I posted? Did you see that?
I think I did. Yeah.
By the way, the video worked. I don't know if you know this, but in the video I said, Kyrie, I would appreciate if you just didn't play in any more games because it makes me very sad when you beat the Sixers. And
that's why he hasn't gotten the vaccine yet. It's because of you.
The Trill Bro Dude curse is no more. I have actually put something out into the world that came true.
I'm going to start spreading this agenda. I hope you know that. When I get into fights with net fans, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to find that video. I'm going to tell them to blame you and not the mayor.
I was going to say, they're mad at Eric Adams. I'm the one they should be mad at. He watched the video and was like, this guy's got a great point. I really shouldn't play anymore. But I just want to say, before we get out of here, the vaccine thing, I do like Kyrie going out there and making this big deal of it and sitting and going into the locker room, sitting courtside, all this stuff. I can admit that I think that the vaccine thing has got to the point where the rule is dumb. But I don't care. It's funny to me. Fuck you. You suck. And fuck the Nets.
I have a similar sentiment, but just not as expressive as you said. I mean, I get it. I think, like, I respect him for having this decision. Like, that's cool. Don't care. You either want to get it or you don't.
By the way, I just want to say, he sucks. Fuck him.
Okay. He's obviously a great basketball player. I think he is a good human being, which I always look to when I have like an NBA player that I like. Like, my first thing is always, are they a good person? Like, is they, like, are they someone that I could look up to as a role model? We're gonna steer away from the Kyrie things because I think what he's doing is kind of stupid, but like, I respect it. But with what you said, like, it's getting a little silly. And I think, like, for the mayor, it's kind of hard because you fired people within the city because of the mandate. So now if you're just like, oh, we should just let Kyrie play, like, I'm gonna reinstate it, it's like, then it puts them in a little bit of a pickle, which I understand. It is getting a little silly, but
the mayor sucks too, by the way.
Yeah,
like, that guy's
so
a terrible person, and his politics are fucking awful. I don't support him at all. But also, Kyrie Irving is not a victim. Like, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
That's the thing I hate about Nets fans. You know, they're hashtag free Kyrie. I'm like, what are we doing here, man?
It is I think you should leave guy in the hot dog suit. If only we could find who did this. You did this to yourself. Live with the consequences, okay? I don't care anymore.
Didn't he say that at one point where he was like, I'm not getting the vaccine, and if there's any consequences, then I'll face them? Like,
yeah. And these are the consequences, and you're not doing it.
So then what are we complaining about?
While I do think it's stupid, I still think it's funny, and I will continue to root for Kyrie to never be able to play for the Nets at home because I personally benefit from it, and that's that's all I care about. So it has gotten to the point where it is so absurd, and Kyrie is being painted like this fucking hero, and it's a joke to me. Yeah. But I do think that he has some other opinions that are good, and I agree with them. And I
like his like wellness mindset
because of this.
Yeah. I like his wellness mindset where it's like, just to be like calm and sort of that aspect some of his other stuff, I'm like,
Well, also, like,
yeah, okay.
supporting indigenous people is good.
Mm-hmm.
Black Lives Matter stuff is good. Like, and he actually, like, put his money where his mouth is. Like, he bought homes for victims of police violence and, like, all good, great things.
Yeah.
But this is one thing where I disagree with him, and it's a pretty big thing. And
Yeah.
I think that I'm not going to sit here and worry about some multimillionaire who is going to be fine. Like, he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
Yeah.
He's not going to get an ounce of sympathy from me. So, by the way, another funny thing would be if I don't want the Nets to win the title. I just want to preface that. Obviously, I want them to lose in the first round or not even make the playoffs. That would be
Yeah.
hilarious. But if Kevin Durant drags them to the finals without Ben Simmons and Kyrie only playing half the games, it would be pretty funny to see. I will say that would be a pretty funny outcome of all of this, is that Kevin Durant doesn't even need Kyrie and he doesn't need Ben Simmons, and he's just like, fuck it. He almost did it last year. I mean, it's a possibility. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
It would be funny, but I would, like I said, I'm moving to like Wyoming or South Dakota or something. I'm gonna work a 9 to 5 as an HR rep for some weird Midwest food company. I can't take it. I can't take it now. Like, imagine.
Well, Kevin Durant has no real rings anyway, so he's ringless. The Warriors rings don't count. So if he wants to win his first title, I will respect it if he can carry his team. He's never won a title before. Kevin Durant got more done for his legacy last year, losing in the second round than he did when he won 2 titles and got to a 50? Third final.
He was one shoe size away from getting
possibly winning the title.
Yeah.
And it's just funny to me that his legacy is now built on a second round playoff loss instead of winning multiple titles. Like, I don't know. None of it will ever make any sense.
I kind of feel bad for him.
I don't at all. Okay. Don't feel bad for Kevin Durant. He has like $500 million and he's one of the best basketball players with them. Like one of the 15 best. He'll be fine.
I feel bad for him because, like, from an NBA perspective, you have like 15-ish games left. Like, this is the time where you kind of can, if your team is good, you can kind of
coast.
Yeah, you can coast and start getting ready for the playoffs. Where for him, it's kind of like Ben Simmons is not gonna play this year at all. Kyrie is a halftime player. Your coach is an idiot. And you basically have to score 50 points every game just to stay in the play-in.
Just to beat the Knicks.
Just to face the Raptors in a play-in game where Kyrie can't play. And Ben Simmons is not going to be there.
It might be Cleveland now, though.
Yeah. Who knows?
Sixers Raptors Part 2. Are you ready for it?
No.
Oh my God! You want to talk about the
protection?
You want to talk about the online wars that this series will start? You kidding me?
I'm gonna deactivate my Twitter.
Oh my God! The online wars of the entire nation of Canada will have a war
and
against.
He's gonna have PTSD in that arena. He's gonna score 2 points.
Okay, Cutter Mike. Hey, Cutter Mike. We can't put that bad juju out there.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Please stop. Please stop. You're making me very sad. You're making me very sad. All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we love Joel. We are only wishing good, positive things on him. He will win the MVP.
He's my GOAT.
He will drag the Sixers to the finals. We will win. We will beat whoever we face there. And Joel will go down as one of the greatest players to ever live. We're putting this out into the universe now.
We're manifesting.
We will never accept anything other than this. Dwani, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for helping me with the merch.
Of course.
And I'll put all of her links in the description. Please support her art. I unfortunately was not able to hang up her art behind me because I have this like divider thing behind me, but I did purchase one of your pieces that I will be hanging soon. And everyone should support her so she can become rich and never have to talk to people like me again.
So I can move to Wyoming, please. This is my.
She can live her best life. Not
completely peaceful, calm. I'll live on a farm. I'll never have to think about the Sixers again.
Never, ever have to worry about what prime Ben Simmons 69. Ben Simmons season. I meant to say Simmons, and
what a way to end it.
Ben Simmons 69. All right, we're gone. We're done.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna blush now. So
there are tears coming from my eyes.